Well, it looks like Michael Saylor might be forced to actually sell Bitcoin after all. Here we have the latest news given this morning. Michael Saylor Strategy launches a Bitcoin monetization program that allows the company to sell BTC to fund operations. We remember when he said he wouldn't sell Bitcoin.
And I refused to do it because a troll on Twitter says, hey, you said you're going to sell your Bitcoin. Okay, fine, I'll destroy $100 billion company so that I can sell my Bitcoin. Well, the point is, I said by the way, I said to you, never sell your Bitcoin. I never said that the company wouldn't sell the Bitcoin.
So he never said that the company wouldn't sell his Bitcoin. I believe that this is something worth talking about. All right, so want to take a minute, share some thoughts in reference to the news that came out this morning about Michael Saylor, I guess, setting up a program to sell his BTC. And so, given the newfound pressure on this treasury company Crave of everybody trying to create products to buy more BTC in a world where interest rates are going to eventually go up, borrowing costs gets more expensive, and sustaining the debt load becomes more of a problem. MicroStrategy's on the hook right now, and Michael Saylor once again is not looking very favorable amongst the BTC community because of what strategy has come up with as far as all these products that are going to be problematic. But nevertheless, I want to dive into just some deep information, and of course, Peter Schiff, who appears to be like going head first towards making sure strategy is exposed as a Ponzi scheme, is definitely something we're going to talk about. And so I want to start off by talking about Peter Schiff's most recent interview, where it just doesn't look good for strategy as a company. And here's a video that Peter Schiff did 2 days ago, which has close to 200,000 views. And as you can see, he has Michael Saylor mugshot on his thumbnail with "I warned you." Let's listen to this.
Unfortunately, this was the week where the death spiral kicked into a much higher gear. The more Bitcoin goes down, the more stretch goes down, the more strategy goes down, the more losses investors have, which means the more investors who file lawsuits, and the lawsuits are for more and more money. You're going to have tens of billions of dollars that strategy is going to owe investors in these class action lawsuits. I mean, you get crickets now at CNBC. I think they got some liability. I think they're going to get sued. I think the financial journalists that enabled this, that should have known better, they legitimized this scam. They're probably going to get sued too.
So there you have the rundown as to who all might be sued as a result of this Saylor situation. And so what exactly is going on here? This is what we're going to dive into. So on the screen here, it says MicroStrategy stops just hoarding Bitcoin. Now it would manage it like smart money. Exactly. See, you see how the narrative shifts as time goes by. But let's just thumb through this article and see what we come up with. So this came out today from BN Crypto. And it basically talks about MicroStrategy builds 2.5 billion USD reserve for 17.4 months dividend coverage. Authorizes 1 billion digital credit plus 1 billion MicroStrategy repurchase at discount. Caps 1.25 BTC shares for reserves, dividends, and buybacks. So literally has 1.25 billion in BT sales for reserves. So MicroStrategy announced digital capital credit framework on June 29th, 2026 that equips the company to treat Bitcoin as a flexible capital resource rather than a static holding. So went from buy all the Bitcoin you can, hold it, never sell it, to now it's a flexible capital resource. So literally what they're saying is that pool of Bitcoin that we've been acquiring and adding to, we now might open up a little bit of that so that we can have more flexibility when it comes to raising capital. So ultimately saying that instead of just buying to hold forever, they're buying to expand their possession of Bitcoin, but also they're going to dip into it and sell some of it, making it more liquid, it seems. So here you have just strategy as a company itself, since it's rebranded itself, is not doing too well right now. And so down as of today, this morning, but it says MicroStrategy shifts to Bitcoin capital manager with 1.2 billion monetization plan. So it says MicroStrategy raised its USD 2.55 billion. The reserve is designated solely for preferred stock dividends and interest expense, as is subject to board policy requiring a minimum of 12 months policy. At current run rates, that's 1.76 billion annually for those obligations. And it says the company stated it can replenish the reserve through the new monetization program or capital markets activity when needed. Strategy expects to remain disciplined in its use of the MSTR issuance, particularly when the stock trades at or near 1 times NAV. So it says monetization and repurchase tool. So the board approved a Bitcoin monetization program allowing sales up to 1.25 billion in BTC specifically to build or replenish the USD reserves. It says additional sales can support dividend and interest payments or fund repurchases when the management reviews them as more advantageous than equity issuance. So literally now, because of all the products they've issued, here's a new strategy of being able to sell Bitcoin as part of their Bitcoin monetization program to provide the capital to service some of the products that they've created so that there'll be no, I guess, concern on them not having liquidity. They'll have liquidity, which means they can get the liquidity from selling BTC. And so, literally, as it says here, additional sales can support dividend and interest payments or fund the repurchases. So, literally, selling BTC to support dividend, to make interest payments, or to refund repurchases of the debt issuance that they put out there for, zero interest rates for, future payments that don't have to be paid no time soon with interest. Those are the things they're going to address. So it says separately, Strategy authorized up to $1 billion in repurchase of its digital credit preferred securities and up to $1 billion for Class A common stocks. And so this is a part of this new management. But then again, it says dividend adjustment and issuance discipline. So it says MicroStrategy increased the revenue dividend rate on its variable Series A perpetual stretch preferred stock to 12%. So literally, as of this current moment, it was at 11%. So they actually increased it to 12%. As we're witnessing the par value of their preferred dividend drop down from 100 to, I heard his last was like, low 80s, touched a 70 piece. So it says management indicated it will review the rate monthly with the objective of supporting the trading near the 100 stated amount. And so what's next? It says Strategy said it will disclose material monetization activity and related balance sheets updates through standard 8K filings. It says market participants will track execution of the repurchase program and any adjustments to the strike dividend rate in the months ahead. And so what exactly is going on here? So due to all the pressure that's being put on Strategy as a result of Bitcoin's liquidity contraction, i.e. more people being forced to get liquid by selling their Bitcoin, we're seeing the drawdown in the actual price of Bitcoin, therefore putting pressure on the company that's built its model on only buying and holding Bitcoin by issuing products in the form of debt instruments. And the news and just the PR around Strategy and its connection with the Bitcoin strategy has become very problematic. So therefore, you're going to see more of a pressure situation on Strategy, especially pending these lawsuits that Peter Schiff so eloquently shared with us. What exactly is going to happen? And so as of now, you have investors coming together trying to, put pressure on Strategy and their business practices because of the losses, because of that 100 par continually dropping. And of course, you got shareholders in Strategy, which aren't doing too well either. So no matter what, as long as Bitcoin price action trends downward, that's more pressure on Strategy. So the question is, will Saylor be able to withstand the pressure and for how long? Given this new monetization of Bitcoin, that apparently will be a way that they look to unload some Bitcoin to raise more capital, because you're going to have less people buying these debt instruments as trust in Strategy and Michael Saylor continues to dwindle. And so I want to end with just playing the rest of this clip here that was shared on X by a Tony Edward, and just let you hear Michael Saylor's shift and change in philosophy over the years. As it says, Saylor says he never stated that Strategy would sell any of his Bitcoin holdings, but that is simply not true.
Bitcoin. So we're not going to be selling. We're going to be buying Bitcoin.
We're not going to be selling.
I just bought 1.1 billion of it, and I intend to hold it forever.
Forever.
But we're not going to sell our Bitcoin. You do not sell your Bitcoin. And anybody that's been listening to our earnings calls or reading our disclosures or has half a brain knows for the last 5 years, we've been very clear that of course we sell the Bitcoin if we have to.
Forever.
So there you have it. Michael Saylor directly. Play of words, depending on the audience, depending on the time, depending on the price of Bitcoin. Things change. But as always, curious to hear what you guys think. Will it get worse or get better for Michael Saylor in the near and in the long-term future? Will his strategy of buying Bitcoin forever work? That is something we're going to find out. But I'm curious to hear what you think.